Okay, I'm talking with Dan Green from 4MS Company now. Dan and 4MS have been one of the most consistent and big supporters of TFoM for many years now. Dan's come out twice, I think, two or
Or
three
more
times,
than that.
and Jean
Four?
come out
Yeah.
as well. So yeah, we've always enjoyed having you out here. Just want to ask first off, what are your roles within 4MS Company, and how many people do you have working with you there?
Well, let's see, we have nine now. Though we have a few people uh, building part-time from home, and some people just kind of filling in just to help with some of the small. So there's some part-time work there, and we have, but there's like seven core people. At the beginning of the year, we had seven. Uh, So the different roles, well, I do designs, and I do most everything, almost 100% of the designs, though we have had some collaborations like the ensemble oscillator that just came out this year with Matthias Wesch. We've done other stuff with him, and another person on the design team, Zach at our company, he did the percussion interface. That's largely his ideas and analog design. And yeah, that's just come out, and it's a cool little module. Uh, so we have we have repair people, we have testing, a couple people do testing, and people do a lot of this and that as needed. Like we have a lot of testing, someone who does designs might test or repair, we fill in. We have invoicing and shipping, and we have and then like social media stuff, graphic design, and making videos and photos for Instagram and stuff like that, and our website photos, and a few of us do stuff with the website too, between back end and front end stuff, and yeah, just kind of make it all happen. There's some dedicated roles, and there's a lot of flex, like we need help uh, here and there, and whatever. People take vacations, and we fill in and stuff like that. So yeah.
Cool. I know before you got into making modules, you were making pedals as 4MS.
Yeah.
Can you tell us just a bit about why and how that developed into starting making modules?
Yeah, so I mean, the pedals, like originally I played guitar for a very short time in a very noisy band that no one really liked. And, I started getting pedals and eventually just put the guitar down and just played the pedals because it was way more fun. And it's kind of what I wanted to be doing anyways. And then that sort of led to, like, you show up to a gig and you have just like a milk crate full of pedals and another one full of power supplies, and then you got to set everything up, or you have a pedal board and it's huge, but I'm always changing things around, so that never stayed set. um, and eventually, so we did that for a while, and then we started making these switching matrix things, called the bend matrix, and it, like, you could plug pedals into it. It had 12 jacks plus more duplicates, and you could plug all your pedals into it and then route them using a button grid, inputs to outputs, or double them up, and then you could save a routing pattern, and then you could sequence the routing patterns, and you could like MIDI control the routing patterns, and then like do all these crazy things where, yeah, it's just sending all the effects to each other and all kinds of crazy noisy stuff. So that was kind of like a attempt at like meta, working on the meta patch idea. It wasn't a very successful thing. Like, not very many people bought it because I don't think anyone understood it. But I think it was like, it got a lot of attention online because it looks cool. It's like, what is that? It's like a pinball machine for your effect pedals or something. It's like, it's kind of like, meme friendly, but not really like a product that you actually see in person very much. So, and then we started making like giant pre-patched, like, yeah, literally this big, like 21 inch, like 3/4 of a meter square, and uh, putting a bunch of effects in them, and then having all these switches to change the routing configurations, and a bunch of jacks in the back where you could patch. so a semi-modular system like that. We made a few of those, and just kind of like, where do you go from there? There was no where to, you can't grow much big, you can't carry something much bigger than this, and we've already made the meta, so yeah, seeing in like late 2000, let's say 2008, 2009, I think we first saw, like, got a modular system in the shop from Josh at Big City Music. He doesn't work there anymore, I don't believe, but he sent us a system, just try it out. Like, we sold them pedals to their shop, and they were like, hey, you should make modules. It's like, well, I don't know how they all, how would it be compatible? I'd have to kind of see it. And he's like, oh, I'll send you a system. So we got it, and just some Dofer modules and 2 rows, not even all the way full, just some, and just was like, this is what I've been trying to do. It's compact, and like everything has a precise function, more or less. And yeah, so we just started converting pedals over, which doesn't work very well, but it got us like in the game, where we're like, we have modules now. And so we started making modules that did things that I couldn't figure out how to do with the Dover system. Like odd clock signatures was the first kind of thing we went into. Polyrhythms and stuff, which is like kind of hard to patch without getting a lot of modules. But we just did a real simple, one little module, 4 HP. You can do polyrhythms. It was the RCD. That was our first like kind of real modular module. So yeah, and that rest is history.
Cool. What do you find particularly fulfilling about designing and making modules?
Oh wow. It's my passion. I like the exploration of having an idea, seeing where that idea takes you when you make it, and then getting to like reiterate on that, and then that gives you new ideas. So then you try new things and then see, and just being able to pursue like a dream is basically what it is. You dream up a thing, and then you get to make it. And if it's not working out like you thought it was, because a lot of times your dreams don't really, not that cool in real life, and then you can change it, and then you can try something else, and then you can keep pursuing this like idea, and hopefully one day it becomes something that other people will want to use. That's the idea. That's actually the kind of the payoff part, when you see someone else using a thing that you got excited about years ago and started making and building and figure out how to make it a real thing, and then you see someone else using it and they're like having fun with it and making cool music and doing things you didn't even think were possible to do on it. Like, that's like the holy grail of like, wow, I made something cool. Yes.
Cool. On the other side, what would you say is one of the main challenges of running a modular company?
Well, the running a company, I think the major challenge is running a company. It's, there's forms and taxes and new laws and changes and accountants, and none of that's fun, but it has to be done. So yeah, that's the least fun thing. But I think on the other side of like designing a product or designing a fun instrument, the hard part with that is knowing when to stop. Like, when is this good enough, or like, should we really delay it another year to try and like get that one little bit of noise out, or maybe people don't care. Like, knowing like how many times to keep improving, and finally people are like, just give it to us. Okay, so that's always a hard line to figure out.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience in the Japanese market?
Yeah. Yeah, let's see, gosh, I don't know when we started selling to Japan but Clockface has been our main, we've sold through Clockface as like our main dealer there for the Eurek modules. And yeah, it's been great. Coming when, I was, of all the meets that didn't happen, like Tokyo Festival was like sad to not, because I also enjoy, like, it's not the biggest thing festival, you know, but I really enjoy being there and just seeing the people. Like, I feel like people are so genuinely excited about um, the modules, or just making crazy music in a way that I don't see it other places when we go to these synth meets, where we, used to go to these synth meets, and I think there's a certain excitement that's taken for granted in other places that I really liked seeing at the Tokyo Festival. So, and that's always been a thing, yeah, that I really appreciate about it. I feel like a lot of our people that are using our stuff, at least the people that I run into or email or bump into at the meets, are like really excited about it and like really like passionate about it, and that's pretty cool to see.
Cool. So yeah, obviously we're doing this interview this year. Everything online. Nobody can fly into Japan.
Oh, but nope.
But how has COVID affected 4MS operations and plans this year?
Yeah, well, we've scrambled to like figure out what to do, because, like, it said there's like 7 to 9 people, and we're used to all coming here and working. We can't do that now. So we figured out ways to take shifts and brought equipment home, and bought duplicate sets of equipment people could take um, home. And then some of the stuff can be done online, but then there's like all this equipment and meters and scopes, so figuring all that out's been a challenge, but everyone's been great. Like, on our teams, like, super flexible. Everyone's just figured out what they need to do and how to do it, and ask for what they need, and we've made it happen. It's been like surprisingly not too stressful, but it is like still getting used to this, like, oh, we don't get to see each other all the time. So we take shifts, and we there's a limit to people in here at a time, and it's a pretty large space, but we just try and minimize any potential overlap of time as much as possible, and work from home as much as possible. So um, we were lucky enough. Like, at first, things, it's like, what's going to happen is, are these people still going to like ship things to us, so we can build stuff, or like we're going to be able to ship things overseas still, so, but yeah, you can still ship stuff overseas now, so it hasn't really, the world hasn't totally crashed, at least the modular world. And we had we had 2 product releases this year, so that's really awesome, because that could have been really bad if, like, the world, like, we spent all this time making these things, and then, like, can't ship them anywhere, like, so, but it's been great. Yeah, we had a good year. So surprisingly, it was like kind of scary at first, but then we had the ensemble oscillator, which, like, really awesome thing, and I'm glad, like, the COVID didn't kill it or mean that people couldn't use it, because we've been shipping them all over the place, and they're great. And then the percussion interface, and that's been awesome too. It just brand new, but that's a fun one too. So yeah, we're grateful. We're still open and in business, and doing the best we can to keep our keep everything organized a little bit.
Cool. And then looking forward to the next year, do you have any particular plans or hopes or things in the pipeline? Probably things under wraps, but
Yeah,
anything?
yeah. Of course, I can't say everything. Yeah, there's always. I mean, like, I guess I was saying at first, there's always like all these dreams that I'm pursuing, or sometimes with other developers too. We have a new person writing firmware this year. We just started, and so that's exciting. It's like we're making some new things. Yeah, I probably shouldn't say a lot about what we're working on, because who knows, it might be 5 years before we finally see it. But there's all kinds of, yeah, things. There are no more releases this year. It's almost over. We just did the PI percussion interface. But yeah, coming up, moving more into kind of playing more with, like, sort of meta, not, I don't know what to say, like, less just like like the meta modules. I guess if you took my analogy from before, we did guitar pedals. So we're moving kind of trying to look bigger. Like what is this whole Eurorack thing really? So that's all I can give you right now. But um, but yeah, lots of fun. We get to play with all kinds of toys and making strange noises. So
That's what it's all about, making strange
yep,
noises.
yep.
Well,
What else is there?
well, yeah, I'm intrigued. It'll be good to see. Yeah, what comes up in the future as well. Um, Slightly different kind of question. What things or people or experiences from outside the world of modular inspire you as a designer or a user?
Oh, well, the one of the things we're working on, I think I even mentioned this in another interview, but is a kid-friendly synthesizer. So, and I have a 2-year-old at home, so that's definitely an inspiration. I mean, just watching him put everything in his mouth. I mean, like, okay, so if I was going to make a synthesizer, it has to be able to fit in a toddler's mouth and not hurt them, or baby's mouth when they're younger, especially. So, so that's been a thought. And then I'm like, well, I don't want to just make like just kids' toys, So kind of like, what would I like? Where's the intersection of what adults like and like kids like? And it's like it's lights and being able to touch things. You know, patch cable's a little hard, but so yeah, there's a non-Eurek project I'm working on that's like touch and light and sound, and it kind of appeals to that kid brain of yourself. Um, so
That sounds amazing.
yeah, it's super fun. Yeah.
Um, Lastly, just to finish off, do you have any thoughts for us here in Japan and TFOM, how we can help advance the modular scene into the future?
Keep making music. That's the whole point. Um, and uh, like with this kind of like separation that we have now is we just need to communicate better and more and use, it's so great we have online all these tools just everywhere because now we can't. So yeah, send us an email, send us whatever, use our Facebook or whatever. And if you have ideas about stuff or, share what you're making or tag us in your post or whatever. Yeah, just try and keep it alive. So
Perfect. Sounds great. Well, thanks for your time, Dan.